The salon opened at 9. Ianthe Corliss was there at 8:14. She warmed the towels. She poured water into a glass pitcher. She set one folded blanket on the back of every chair. She did not check her phone. She did not turn on the music. She lined up the amber bottles by label until the light through the window caught all 5 of them at once. Her first client of the day was Rowan Veidt. Rowan came every 4 weeks. She tipped in cash. She brought crayon drawings from her daughter folded into the side pocket of her bag. Ianthe had been cutting her hair since November. 4 months now. Rowan said she felt at home in this chair. Ianthe believed her. Rowan said her daughter was starting kindergarten in the fall. She laughed, saying the school had already written her daughter's name wrong on 3 forms. It was an older name, an unusual name, her grandmother's name, the same name Ianthe had once picked and never used for a baby she lost at 19 weeks. Ianthe kept her breath even. She said the name was beautiful. Ianthe cut the hair the way she always cut it, 2 inches off the ends, a softer frame around the jaw. She listened to Rowan talk about bedtime and finger paint, and the fluorescent bulb in the kitchen that hummed too loud at night. Ianthe laughed at the right places. She did not say she knew what the kitchen sounded like. She did not yet. Rowan booked her next appointment before she left. She tipped in cash as always. She walked out into the afternoon light and the bell over the door chimed twice. Ianthe swept the floor. She rolled the shears back into the leather case. She looked at the appointment book, at Rowan's name written in even blue ink, and she felt nothing. Yet because she did not know yet what she was being asked to feel. 4 weeks later, Rowan came back. She sat down in the chair the way she always did. She said her husband had been strange all week. She did not use the word strange at first. She said off, quiet, distracted. She said he had been forgetting things. His keys, her mother's birthday, the name of the waiter at the restaurant they had been going to for 3 years. Rowan said his name for the first time in the chair. She said it casually, the way a person says the street they live on. Devin Corliss. Ianthe's hand did not move. The shears stayed flat against the counter. She had not heard that name out loud in 9 years. She had written it once on a hospital form. She had buried it the same week she buried the rest. Rowan did not notice. She kept talking. She said Devin had been leaving his phone face down at dinner. She said he had taken a new client in the next town over and was working late twice a week. She said he had told her she was imagining things. Ianthe let the cape settle across Rowan's shoulders. She tied it closed. She said nothing about the name. Rowan showed her a photo of him on her phone, smiling at a barbecue, holding a beer, the same soft jaw, the same chipped front tooth, the gold watch she did not recognize. It was him. It had always been him. Ianthe said he looked like a good dad. She handed the phone back. She picked up the shears. She began to cut. Rowan said something then that Ianthe would remember in the car on the way home. She said Devin did not want to be here. She said he had told her 2 nights ago that he did not know why he had chosen this life. She said it lightly, like a joke, like a weather report. She said she was choosing to hear it as tiredness. Ianthe said nothing. The shears kept moving. The cut ended. Rowan stood. She tipped in cash. She hugged Ianthe, quick and thoughtless, and said she did not know what she would do without her. Ianthe held her for the length of a breath. She watched her walk out into the street. She watched the bell over the door swing twice. Then she went into the back room and she sat on the stool and she did not cry. At home that night, she took down the shoebox from the closet. She did not open it. She set it on the round oak table. She boiled water. She made tea she did not drink. She sat across from the shoebox the way a person sits across from another person. For an hour she did not speak. The kettle cooled on the stove. She did not move to put it away. The next morning she opened her laptop before she opened the salon. She pulled the irrigation company website. She pulled his LinkedIn profile. She pulled the small town paper that had covered his wedding 2 years after she lost the baby. She read all of it. She did not save a file. She closed the laptop. She left for work. At the salon that day, Mira Theolin came out of the back office and asked Ianthe if she was all right. Mira did not ask twice. She was not the kind of woman who asked twice. Ianthe said she was fine. Mira looked at her for a long second and then nodded and went back to the green ledger. Ianthe understood the nod. It meant the door was open. It did not mean she had to walk through it today. That evening, Ianthe wrote one line on a blank index card. She wrote it in blue ink. She folded the card once. She put it in her wallet behind her ID. The card said, "I will not tell her." The card said, "I will not call him." The card said, "I will cut her hair the way I always cut it, and I will let the rest arrive." 4 weeks later, Rowan came back. Her hair was past her collarbone now. She sat down and she asked Ianthe to take 3 inches off. Her hands on the armrests were tighter than before. She did not ask for much talk. Ianthe worked in silence. She poured the water. She warmed the towel. She cut the hair with the same slow precision she had used the first time. Rowan said Devin had lost a client that week. A big one. She said he had come home at midnight and not eaten the plate she left for him in the oven. She said he had told her he needed some space to think. Ianthe tilted Rowan's head with 2 fingers and trimmed the line at her jaw. She said space was sometimes the kindest thing 2 people could give each other. She did not say anything else. When Rowan left, she left a small crayon drawing on the counter. It was from her daughter, a tall woman in a green apron, a small girl holding the hand of the tall woman, a yellow sun, a row of amber bottles on a shelf. Ianthe stared at it for a long time. She slid it into the back of her appointment book. She did not put it on the wall. At home that night, Ianthe did not open the shoebox. She put the crayon drawing on the fridge with a small magnet shaped like a pear. She stood back and looked at it. Then she made soup. She ate at the table. She washed the bowl. She slept. 6 weeks later, Rowan did not book. She canceled the morning of. She sent a text that said she was having a hard week and she would come next month. She tipped $20 through the app anyway. Ianthe read the text twice. She set the phone face down on the counter. She did not answer. She would cut the hair when Rowan came. She would not chase her. In the weeks after, Devin Corliss's own life began to loosen at its seams. His irrigation company restructured. His region was cut in half. His boss called him into an office and told him his numbers had been soft for 3 quarters. He said he would make it up. He said he always did. He went home and did not mention the meeting at dinner. He missed a dinner with Rowan's parents that Saturday. He said it was a client emergency. There was no client. He sat in his car in the parking lot of a bar in the next town and drank 1 beer slowly. He watched the back of a woman he did not know. He thought about calling a number he had not called in 9 years. He did not. The kettle went cold on the stove in the Corliss kitchen that same night. Devin had put it on before the bar. He had forgotten he put it on. He came home at midnight. Rowan was asleep with the child in the spare bed. He opened the cupboard for a mug. He saw the kettle and he did not understand for 3 seconds why it was there. At the salon that week, Ianthe took her lunch in the cafe on Vestry. She sat in the corner by the tall window. She ordered soup. She read a book. She was not performing anything. She was not waiting for anyone. The afternoon light cut across the pale wood floor and landed on her hand on the page. A woman at the next table complimented her shoes. Ianthe smiled. She said thank you. She ate her soup. Back at the salon, Mira slid a small sealed envelope across the counter to Ianthe. Inside was a business card for a lawyer she trusted. Mira did not explain the card. She did not ask a question. She said only that sometimes women needed to know the number of a good one before they needed it. Ianthe put the card in her wallet behind the folded index card. She did not call. She did not need to yet. Rowan came back the week after. She was thinner. Her hair had not been washed that morning. Ianthe seated her. She washed the hair herself at the back sink. Warm water against Rowan's scalp, long strokes with her fingertips. She did not ask what had happened. Rowan cried once at the sink, quietly. Ianthe kept rinsing. She handed her a warm towel when it was over. When Rowan was in the chair again, she said it in a flat, even voice. She said Devin had been sleeping in the guest room for a month. She said she had found a receipt in his coat pocket. A motel. An hour away, 2 months ago. She said she did not know yet what she wanted to do. Ianthe nodded. She worked the ends into a softer taper. She did not offer advice. She did not offer herself. Ianthe went home and lit a candle on the oak table. She did not open the shoebox. She sat with the candle for 30 minutes. She did not think about Devin. She thought about the girl in the crayon drawing. She thought about a kitchen with a humming bulb. She thought about the one line on the folded index card in her wallet. She blew the candle out. She went to bed. Devin's mother called him that week. She had heard from a neighbor. She said she was not coming to the birthday. She said she was tired. She said she had raised a boy who was better than this, and she did not have the energy to pretend any longer that she saw that boy in the man he had become. She hung up. He listened to the dial tone for a long time. His boss called him in again the next Tuesday. Separation. Severance, a quarter of what he had expected. He signed the papers in front of 2 people he did not know. He walked out into the parking lot. He sat in his car with the keys in his lap. He did not cry. He did not call Rowan. He drove nowhere for 2 hours and then he drove home. At the salon, Ianthe was cutting a longtime client's hair when Rowan walked in without an appointment. She stood at the door. She did not sit. She said she needed 10 minutes when Ianthe was free. Ianthe finished the cut. She led Rowan to the back room. She put the kettle on. She poured 2 cups of tea. She sat down across from her. She waited. Rowan said she had hired a lawyer. She said she was filing on her own terms. She said she did not know yet where she would live, but she knew she would not stay. She said she was taking her daughter and the dog and the quilt her grandmother had made. She said nothing else of his belonged to her. Ianthe said she was proud of her. It was the first personal sentence she had given her in a year. Rowan asked her then the question. She asked if Ianthe had ever met Devin, anywhere, in any context. Ianthe looked her in the eye. She told her the truth. She said she had known a Devin Corliss 9 years ago. She said she had not known he was Rowan's Devin until Rowan had said the name in the chair. She said she had not acted on that knowledge in any direction. She said she would not. Rowan did not cry. She did not stand. She asked one question. She asked if he had known who Ianthe was the whole time, or if he had found out later. Ianthe said she did not know. Rowan nodded. She drank the rest of her tea. She stood. She thanked Ianthe. She walked out into the floor of the salon, and then out into the street, and the bell chimed once. Ianthe finished the rest of the day on schedule. She cut 3 more heads of hair. She poured 3 more pitchers of water. She folded 3 more warm towels. She did not cry in the back room. She did not text Rowan. She swept the floor at close. She locked the door. She walked home along the long way because the long way had trees. Devin did not know yet that Rowan knew. He came home that night and found a small packed suitcase in the foyer. The stroller was gone. The quilt from the back of the couch was gone. A folded piece of paper sat on the console table beside the glass bowl of keys. It said his lawyer would be in contact. It was signed in Rowan's careful teacher's handwriting. He sat on the bottom step of the staircase. He did not stand up for a very long time. In the weeks that followed, his world collapsed on its own schedule. The irrigation severance ran out faster than he had budgeted. He moved into a 1-bedroom above a hardware store. The landlord asked for first, last, and a deposit. He paid in 3 transfers over 8 days. He ate instant noodles at a folding table he had bought used from a couple leaving the city. He opened the fridge in the new place on the 4th morning. 3 condiment bottles, a half sleeve of crackers, a jar of pickles from the last tenant that he had not yet thrown out. He closed the fridge. He drank tap water. He did not open the fridge again until the afternoon, and nothing inside it had changed. Rowan did not come to the salon for 6 weeks. Ianthe did not message her. She left her slot open on the calendar. She stopped filling it with other clients. Mira saw the empty slot on the book one morning and said nothing. She penciled a small star beside it in the green ledger. That was all. On a Tuesday, Ianthe met Amaro and Wren in the cafe on Vestry. He had been her physical therapist for a tight shoulder a year earlier. They had become friends at the edges of that. He was engaged to a woman named Wren. Ianthe liked him because he asked careful questions and waited for the answers. He asked her how she was. She said she was tired and good. He nodded. He did not push. They ate pastries and shared a pot of tea. Amaro told her a small story about a patient who had finally walked up a flight of stairs after a year of refusing the exercises. Ianthe laughed. She had not laughed, really laughed, in 3 months. The cafe owner refilled their water. A couple at the next table argued quietly about which movie to see. The afternoon moved the way afternoons move when no one is waiting for a single specific phone call. That same Tuesday, Devin sat in a diner alone eating a plate of eggs he could not taste. The waitress asked if everything was all right. He said yes. He tipped 20% anyway. He walked out. He stood on the sidewalk for a long moment. He looked up at the sky. The sky did not look back. The envelopes from the city started arriving the next month. The first was a tax reassessment on the house he could not afford to keep. The second was a notice from a credit card he had been juggling. The third was a reminder from his lawyer that the first deadline had passed. He stacked them on the folding table. He did not open the 4th. Then the 5th. Then the 6th. He tried calling his mother one night. She did not pick up. He left a voicemail. He said he was sorry. He said he was working on it. He said he hoped she was well. He hung up. The phone screen stayed dark afterward. He refreshed it twice, then 3 times. Then he set it face down on the folding table and did not look at it again until morning. Rowan came back to the salon on a Tuesday in September. She did not book online. She walked in at 9:15. Ianthe was already at her station. Rowan asked for a real cut, something she had been thinking about for a while. Ianthe poured her water. She warmed her towel. She sat her down. She did what she was asked to do. Rowan asked for the length to her shoulders, a blunt line, a heavier fringe. Ianthe said it would suit her. It would. Ianthe worked slowly. Rowan closed her eyes. She said she had been sleeping better in the new apartment. She said her daughter was happy. She said the quilt from the grandmother was on the new couch now. She said thank you. She meant for the haircut. She meant for the rest. Rowan asked her one question at the end. She asked whether Ianthe had ever imagined what she would say if she had ever met him again. Ianthe thought about it. She said she had imagined many things. She said she did not imagine them anymore. She said silence had turned out to be its own sentence. Rowan looked at her in the mirror. She said she understood. She did. Rowan tipped in cash. She hugged Ianthe at the door. She said she would see her in 4 weeks. The bell chimed twice. Ianthe swept the floor. The drawing from Rowan's daughter was still in the back of the appointment book, tucked between 2 pages. Ianthe left it there. She did not move it to the wall. She did not need to. Devin saw Rowan's name in the local paper a month later. She had joined a teacher's collective. The small photograph showed her holding a paintbrush at the front of a classroom. Her hair was cut to her shoulders, a blunt line, a heavier fringe. She looked 10 pounds lighter and 20 pounds less afraid. He folded the paper. He did not throw it out. He kept it on the folding table for 3 days. He opened a new email account on a Thursday. He wrote a long message to Ianthe. He did not send it that night. He opened it again the next morning. He edited it. He did not send it. He sat at the folding table with the cursor blinking for an hour. He closed the laptop. He went for a walk. He did not go far. In the meantime, Ianthe rented a second chair in the salon to a newer stylist. The second chair had been empty for a year. Mira looked at the contract and signed it without reading. She said she trusted Ianthe's eye. Ianthe hung a small clean cloth at the back of the new chair. She folded a fresh blanket across the headrest. She set out an amber bottle on the shelf. She was thinking about expansion. Quietly. On a Saturday, Ianthe went to a farmer's market with Amaro and Wren. She had met Wren once before. Wren hooked her arm through Ianthe's as they walked between the stalls. They bought peaches. They bought a loaf of bread that was still warm. Amaro carried the bags. Ianthe laughed at something Wren said about a jam label, and the laugh carried for several seconds. Devin's message landed in Ianthe's salon email on a Monday at 9 o'clock. It was 3 paragraphs long. It was not an apology. It was an explanation. He wrote about being young and scared. He wrote about the decisions he had made afterward. He wrote about how much he had thought of her over the years. He asked if she would meet him for a coffee. 1 coffee, just to talk. Ianthe read it once. She did not read it again. She did not reply that day. She did not reply that week. She did not reply at all. She opened her wallet on the 3rd day, and she took out the folded index card she had written 9 months earlier. She looked at it. She put it back. She closed the wallet. She kept working. Devin checked his sent folder every morning for a week. He refreshed the inbox. He did not find a reply. He did not find a bounce. He did not find anything. On the 8th day, he wrote a second message, shorter. He asked if she had received the first. He pressed send. He refreshed. He refreshed. The inbox did not change. He walked by the salon one evening at the end of the month. He stood across the street under the awning of a closed bakery. He watched Ianthe through the window. She was cutting a young man's hair. She was laughing at something the young man had said. Devin watched for 6 minutes. He did not cross the street. He did not knock on the window. He went home and he did not eat. In the hallway mirror at his apartment that night, he looked at himself for the first time in a month. The overhead bulb was harsh. His skin had taken on a gray cast. His hairline had receded a 1/4 inch since the spring. He did not recognize the tilt of his own mouth. He stood there for a while. Then he turned out the light and he went to bed. Ianthe kept working. She took on a second newer stylist in the 3rd month. She started a Saturday morning class for young women who wanted to learn about shears and posture and the small economics of a chair. The class filled in a week. The second Saturday she taught, she looked up at the row of young women sitting on folding chairs, and she understood that she had built something while she had been busy not collapsing. Devin tried to call her once from a borrowed phone, a number she did not know. She was at home. She looked at the screen. She did not answer. The voicemail recorded a long pause, a breath, a single fragment of a sentence that did not finish. The voicemail ended. Ianthe did not listen to it. She deleted it. She did not think about it again that night. Rowan invited Ianthe to her new apartment for dinner. Ianthe went on a Friday in November. The apartment had the quilt on the back of the couch and a small crayon drawing taped to the fridge that Ianthe recognized. Rowan's daughter was at the table. Rowan served pasta and a simple salad. They ate. They did not talk about Devin at all. The daughter asked Ianthe if she wanted to see her room. Ianthe said yes. The room had a small shelf of books, a row of crayons in a clear plastic bin, a painted name above the bed. The name was the one Rowan had mentioned in the chair a year ago. Ianthe stood in the doorway. She did not cry. She said the room was beautiful. The daughter said thank you very seriously and then led her back to the table. Devin did not send a 3rd email. He stopped checking his inbox the way he had checked it. The credit card was closed. The tax reassessment went to collections. He took a night job stocking shelves at a hardware store. He wore a blue apron. His name was embroidered in white thread on the pocket. He did not look at himself in the mirror in the employee bathroom at the end of his shift. He walked home with cold fingers. Ianthe walked to Amaro and Wren's apartment on a cold Thursday in December. She brought a bottle of wine and a small loaf of bread she had baked. Wren hugged her at the door. Amaro took the bottle. The apartment smelled of onions and garlic. A record was playing softly in the next room. Ianthe laughed when she saw Amaro's socks did not match. She did not think about Devin at all. They ate at a small table pushed against the window. Wren told a story about a patient who had brought Amaro a cake shaped like a spine. Ianthe laughed until her eyes watered. Amaro shook his head and told a better version of the story. Wren protested. The record changed in the other room. The three of them stayed at the table long after the plates were empty. On the way home that night, Ianthe stopped in front of a small shop window with a display of ceramic kettles. She stood there for a long time. She thought about the kettle on her stove at home. She thought about the cold kettle she had imagined in a kitchen she had never seen. She understood that both kettles had survived the year. She walked on. She did not buy anything. Devin wrote one more message at the start of the new year. He kept it short. He said he understood. He said he would not write again. He said he hoped Ianthe was well. He pressed send. The inbox confirmed the message had gone. He closed the laptop. He did not refresh. He did not wait. He had finally learned what the silence meant. Ianthe read the new message on a Tuesday morning at her counter. She read it once. She did not open a reply window. She did not delete it either. She filed it into a folder she had created a year ago. The folder had one rule. It kept what arrived. It did not answer. She closed the laptop. She poured a glass of water for her first client. She warmed a towel. She set it on the back of the first chair. Mira came out of the back office with the green ledger and said that revenue had been the best it had been in 5 years. Ianthe nodded. She did not say anything. She did not need to. That Saturday, Ianthe made dinner at her apartment for Rowan and her daughter. She made soup. She made bread. She set 3 places at the round oak table. The daughter sat to her left. Rowan sat across. They talked about kindergarten and the school play and a new word the daughter had learned that week. The soup was warm. The bread was warm. The kitchen was warm. The shoebox was not on the shelf tonight. Later that night, Ianthe walked Rowan and the daughter down the front steps to their waiting car. The street was quiet. A cold wind moved the hem of her coat. She waved as the car pulled away. She stood on the sidewalk for a moment. Then she turned and walked up her own steps and closed the door behind her. The porch light clicked off on its timer. Months later, Ianthe stood in her apartment after work and took down the shoebox from the closet. She set it on the round oak table the way she had once before. She opened it this time. A small folded blanket inside. A hospital bracelet. A sonogram. A folded page with one name written in her own 19-year-old hand. She sat for a while with the box open. Then she closed the lid. She carried the box to the back of the closet. She did not throw it out. She did not need to visit it again. She made herself tea. She poured 1 cup. The kettle was warm and the flame clicked off the way it was supposed to. She sat down at the round oak table with the cup between her hands. On the fridge, the crayon drawing from Rowan's daughter was still there. A tall woman in a green apron. A small girl holding her hand. A yellow sun. She did not answer the email in the folder. She never would. The silence was the sentence. The kettle was warm. She drank her tea.